2, 1.
Okay. Okay. Today I want to talk about how I implemented the Hannon Hill site in Cascade. But let me say something first, okay, about why I did this first, and then we'll like talk about like how later, okay. The question why. I want to use my standard model. Well, we've been like talking about the standard model for a while now. I want to test my standard model to see if it can deal with a new design. A new design in the sense that it can be a design coming from any organization with anything inside. So I'm just like paraphrasing, okay, what I have just claimed. I want to like try to test my standard model to see if it can be used to deal with any website or websites, plural. So I want to find out, okay, if I'm to like to deal with well, a simple site like Hannon Hill, okay, simple because there's only one site. I don't have to deal with like multiple sites, okay, using different branding information and so on. So I want to like use a simple site like Hannon Hill and see whether I can like deal with that site using my standard model and see whether there's anything missing from the standard model. And this is an exercise as a proof, okay, well, just to show, okay, my standard model can deal with something like this. But I also want to document the process so that when someone wants to like use my standard model to deal with their own site or sites, okay, I want to like, well, spell out the steps and so on and so forth. And actually, I want you to like look at today's presentation as the second point I've just mentioned. So let's say a few months from now, you want to implement a new design, okay? Then you can consider, okay, using the standard model to implement your new design. But then, I mean, what are the steps? How to do that? So that's basically the purpose of like answering this kind of questions. So I'm trying to like give you some idea, okay, how to like, okay, deal with a new design, assuming the design, okay, is coming from you, okay.
Sounds good.
Now the problem is this, okay. You have to come up with a design first, because when I say, okay, I implemented Hannon Hill, okay, everything is given to me, including like the JavaScript, the style sheets, and so on and so forth. So that part is assumed. I cannot deal with like okay, writing the style sheet for you, okay, because you have the design, you have the style sheet. I just like assume, okay, everything is given to me.
Gotcha.
Okay. So when I look at the Hannon Hill site, well, I spent my first day on like analyzing the Hannon Hill site. Okay, basically I need to like identify the components on. Well, first I need to identify, okay, the branding information. For example, the logo, the menu, the global menu. They have a left menu, sometimes a right menu, the footer, and contact information. So these are like site-specific, but kind of like, well, what I call global, okay, global information site-wise, okay. And then I need to like go through the entire site and like find out, okay, how many different page types I have to deal with. For example, they have, let me like share the screen, okay, so that we can like look at the Hannon Hill site. So can you see the Hannon Hill site?
Yes.
I want to like be confirmed that I'm sharing the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can see it on my end too.
Okay. Yeah, you can go to the Hannon Hill site and take a look at the site too. So I have to like go through every item in the menu and visit every page and try to identify, okay, how many different like page layouts I'm dealing with. And I need to look at the source code and like, okay, analyze the source code and see what exists, okay, in every page. Well, every page I examine. So there are a few different types of pages, okay. For example, the home page, okay. You can see, okay, we have, for example, this section like spanning the entire width, and then the footer, and then we have a slideshow here also spanning the entire width, the footer here, okay. So the home page is like one specific page type. And then if we like go to a like a index page of each section, we have a page without left, without right columns. So the center column spans the whole width of the container. And if we go to blogs, for example, then we have a different page type. So the center column is divided into two sub-columns, but on the right side, we have the right navigational column, so like listing all the categories. If we go to a specific blog article, we have another page type. This right column is wider than the one we saw a moment ago. So if you compare the two, this one has a narrower white column, but this one has a wider right column. And actually, if you look at the source code, this column on a blog article is actually an aside element. Okay, it's not a div, but an aside. But if you look at the source of this right column, this whole thing is a div, not an aside. So this is the first step I need to to go through, okay, to analyze the site. If we look at the 404 page, it doesn't matter, okay, so anything, we'll see the 404. So this is the 404 page. This page is simple because it spans the entire container and everything is centered. So this page is simple. So the first step is to look at a site and then basically identify the components, and then the global information, the logo, the menu, the left, the right column, the footer, and so on. And also identify how many different layouts, okay, on different pages. That's the first step. But you can save the first step if the design comes from you, because I mean you design the site, so you know, okay, how many different page types, where I can find the left column, where I can find the right column, whether you vary the width of a certain column, how you want to divide basically the page area, okay, into how many different columns, how wide they are, and so on. Assume that part you already know.
Right.
Okay, because it's your design. But because, okay, I am using Hannon Hill site as an exercise, of course I need to analyze their source code to find out how the site is designed.
Right.
Okay. Now, so the first step, okay, I assume, okay, you have the design and you have the style sheet, the JavaScript, and so on. Okay. Okay. The next step for me would be to implement the site as a static site. That means, okay, I have to create some representative pages, okay, on the server as static pages.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So let me show you what I did. Okay.
Wayne, when you say a static page, are you just using a file?
Using files, yes.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to check.
Okay, and I need to find the site first. So Chan W, I should have a Hannon Hill, yeah. Chan W Hannon Hill. Web app, sorry. Okay, this is the static site, okay, I was talking about. This site was built everything hard-coded. Okay, but if you compare the two, okay, they look identical. Okay, well, slightly different. For example, the icons, okay, are moving a little. Okay, but I don't care about that part.
That's weird. It should be identical.
They should be identical. Okay, at least, okay. As far as the general layout, the look and feel, different components, they should be identical.
Right.
Okay. Now let me show you what is inside the static site. Okay, this will help a lot when you build something, okay, in Cascade. So let me pull up the index page first, okay? This is the page, okay, we are looking at. Now,
Wang, I'm just curious, how long did it take to download all the assets from the Hannon Hill site to have the entire site static?
no, I didn't really download the site. Okay, remember the style sheet is given to you. You just like point directly to the Hannon Hill site to grab the style sheet. So as far as like style sheets, images, and so on and so forth, I all point them to Hannon Hill. So I don't need to download anything except textual information.
Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. So let me show you what I have, okay, in the page. Let me just close whatever irrelevant. So this is the page, okay? That's all. Now I am using PHP include, okay, to include a lot of different files. But if you look carefully, okay, basically each part is a component on the page. For example, okay, well, we can ignore everything in head, okay? These are just like the script, the length elements, style sheet, and so on and so forth, okay? So this part you can ignore, and I assume you can handle this part, okay? But starting from here, we have like a Google Tag Manager, okay? Well, because they have Google Tag Manager, this JavaScript code inside. Actually, I didn't really deal with it, okay, in Cascade implementation. Okay, this is the header. The header is actually the logo, the menu bar, the request a demo box. Okay, this is the header part. And then we have the center content area. This is the page content. So I just like put everything into one file. And then contact is this part. Okay, this part is contact. This part. So this area is this form. Okay, is contact. And then their footer is this part, okay, this part is footer. So basically, I just like put like the information into like separate files and then include everything.
Okay.
Okay. And this actually helps me, okay, to like identify different components where this whole thing, okay, except the index content part is what I call the global information. Well, the look and feel, the logo, everything like that exists, okay, in every page, except, of course, okay, the page content, this part.
So are those analogous to regions?
Well, we are getting there. We are getting there. So in the traditional approach, okay, each one of these will be a region, true. Okay. So for example, if you are like designing this site, okay, using your own approach, okay, you might have like a header region, a contact region, a footer region, and something for the script, something for the link, something for meta, and so on.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now this will help me, okay, to build my template. So I need to like accommodate each component in the template. Okay. So let me just recap what we did, okay, in the first day. First, we analyzed the site, okay, and then like identify different components. Well, we are looking at the components right now, okay. So identify different components, and then we identify like how many different page types we need to deal with. Well, with respect to like layouts, okay. So whether there's a right column, a left column, whether there's a nav on the right, on the left, and so on. We need to identify these like components, and then we build a static site. Okay, that's the second part. So we have a static site to look at.
Cool.
Okay. Now the third step, we go inside Cascade and start building the site. Okay. So let me just show you the template. So thank you. Okay, the template. Now, if you look closely at the template, you will see the similarity between these two. Do you see that?
Kind of.
Okay, now in the template, okay, I ignored the meta, okay, but you can also like put the meta back, okay. Whatever I commented out, okay, I'm ignoring. I'm ignoring, for example, the script for IE, okay, but I'm showing the link, okay. So there's a link here, and there's a link, okay, on the static page. IE script, okay, of course I commented out, but there's an IE script here, okay, on the like static page. And then I have a title, and then I have the page level override. This is my backdoor to sneak in things, okay, into the head. And then we have like Google Tag Manager, okay. I commented out because I don't want to deal with that. And then we have this part, okay. This is actually the header.
Wayne,
Okay.
can you increase the font of your Cascade window?
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
Oh,
Perfect.
okay. Let's see. But then it's big. Okay. Probably this will help a little. Yep.
Yeah. Great.
So this part on the left side is the header, and on the right side, okay, I have a header. But of course, okay, on the left side, I also have like show nav, okay, because the nav is actually generated from Cascade.
Right.
Okay. Now down here, I have default. That corresponds to the index contents, okay, on the right side. And then I have contact, I have footer, I have script corresponding to those three.
Got it. So far, so good.
So basically, you start with a static site. You identify all the components except the page content. And then you start building the template using your static page, okay, as a guide.
Wayne, I'm curious about one aspect.
Yep.
How come the header, you're not using a div ID show header?
Well, because in the header, I need to like do two things. The logo and the request a demo as the first part,
Okay.
and then the navigation as the second part.
Okay. Okay.
Of
That
course,
makes sense.
I can put a show header here. Okay, this actually can be a show header, but then that show header must have two parts somewhere else.
Yes.
There's a trade-off. Okay, you can put this into a template, or you can put it somewhere else in the format, in a blog. I'm not actually going to talk about this, okay, in a second. But there's always a trade-off. Okay, if you want to create so-called something like a region, okay, you have like at least like 3 different choices. You can put the region in a template. You can put a region or whatever content, okay, go into that region in a format or in a blog.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to make a decision where it should go. Normally, I will like try to excuse me. I will try to put things into blocks if I can. Just not to like to put like too much code in templates in the formats. Okay, but here I put the header here, okay, because it's constant for the Hannon Hill site. Well, the logo and the request for a demo, that's constant. So I don't need to change anything here. But if you insist, okay, this can go to a blog. I'm talking about line 15 to 17. These 3 lines can go to a blog, and then I can like put, for example, show logo, something like that, in this place. Okay. Any questions about this part?
No, the only thing I was going to mention is on my end, I don't use PHP.
Oh,
But
okay.
the approach that you took with your PHP code on the other screen,
Right.
I would, in the past, what I've done is something similar, where I just create a template file in Cascade and just have a single block for each. What would be each block would be the equivalent of each piece of PHP code.
Similar.
That you have, in terms of having like a page that assembles a bunch of static content.
Yeah.
I just used the Cascade template file and
Oh, sure.
block.
Actually, if you want to, you can start with like a template with like regions, and then you can eliminate those regions later. You can do something like that too.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, this is the template. Okay, not much in it. Okay, so we only have one region here. Okay, that's what I want to highlight, and nothing else. Okay, everything else. Okay, are just like divs with like ID show something. Mike, I want to check with you. Do you understand the high show mechanism before I move on?
The hide show mechanism as far as what aspect of it?
Okay. Let's say, okay, in the template, or actually on a page, okay, somewhere, you can have something like this, okay, show something. Okay, normally you can find something like this in a template, but you can also have something like this in a page.
Okay.
Let me call this the target, okay? The target meaning you're moving some content from the source to the target. Here you're looking at the definition of the target. So if there's something, okay, you want to move here, okay, in the place of this show nav, well, of course, the navigation, okay, you define the show something in the template or in a page. That's the target. And then, of course, we need to look at the source. Okay, that's the first part of the hide show mechanism. The second part, you use a template level format to move things around. So, for example, the nav, you define a line like this in this template, then this template will move whatever I did with like hide nav to the place, okay, called show nav. This is what I meant by the hide show mechanism.
Yeah, that's a little new to me, so I'd be curious. Do you go through it, or if you've done it before in a previous screencast? I'd certainly like to catch
actually,
up with that.
A guy whose name is Mike, Mercer. What's his first name? I forgot. Mike Mercer or Jay Mercer? Sorry,
Jay Mercer.
Jay Mercer. He talked about hide show twice. One in 2012, one just last year. He gave two presentations on this topic, so you might want to check with his presentations.
Cool.
Okay, but basically it's like this. You define the source, hide something. Let me just show you. Okay, I have, for example, contact. I have hide contact here. Okay, so there must be a source, hide something. Okay, it can be a block. It can be normally. The high element is like from a block normally. Okay, so here I put the div, okay, right here in this block, high contact. Okay, now there must be a target defined, okay, somewhere. It could be on a page. It could be in the template. Show contact. So this is the target. Okay, so we have a source. We have a target. The source normally is a like from a block. The target normally in a template. And then in the template format, we basically specify, okay, just move whatever, okay, from hide contact to show contact, basically.
Okay.
That's the hide show mechanism.
Makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have defined those targets, okay, in the template to move things around. Well, that's actually the mechanism I rely on to eliminate all the regions except default. Because I can define anything, okay, in a block, assuming that block contains, okay, content, that should go to a region in the traditional way. But now I use the hide show. Okay, just define, okay, where it should land to, okay, by defining a show something. These are actually, well, you can treat this, okay, as regions. Okay, so you have a source, okay, a block, and then you have a target, okay, show something. Then the content there will land here.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
the mechanism. So this is the template. Now let me show you the data definition for the page. It looks a bit complicated, but this is normal. Okay. Let me start from the bottom. First, I have a group. Okay. Well, let me show the XML. It will be easier to look at. Let me focus on this part. So in the data definition associated for the page with the page, okay, there's only one page, okay, for the entire design. So there's only one data definition, one content type. Now, in this part, I define two groups, okay? One for site config, one for page config. Site config, they are all block choosers, okay? So this is like my way of like designing things, okay, to replace regions. Okay, for example, site config group, I define like a whole bunch of blocks, okay, so that you can like put code in. But if you look closely, okay, link goes here. Link meaning like the link elements that will end up in the head, okay? And then a script, JavaScript, okay, they all go to the end of the page, okay? Because if you look at like the Hannon Hill site, let me just show you the source, okay? The script are here, okay, near the end of the page. So they put like the script here. And actually this is good practice. You put the JavaScript like near the end of the page. Okay. So and then the title of the page, okay, the system page title, and then contact information, the navigation, the footer. Okay, notice, okay, everything global goes here into one group, into these block choosers.
Okay.
Any questions about this part? Now, you may wonder, okay, well, let's say we have a navigational bar, okay, on the top, but it goes here, okay, go to a block chooser. What's next? Well, it's simple, because, okay, let's say, okay, the nav, okay, is actually an index block processed by a format, okay. So we have like a UL, LI, and so on and so forth, okay, in this block chooser, okay. But remember, we have the high show mechanism. So this block, okay, well, remember this is a block chooser, okay? The block with the format would produce something like high nav containing a UL inside.
Okay.
But the template, okay, also define, okay, a show nav right on the top. Let me just like go back again. So if we look at the template again, show nav is right here, okay, in the header section, right under body. Okay, so this show nav will actually show whatever UL you define in that block, even though that block is attached to the end of the page. Okay, so it doesn't matter where that block chooser is. It doesn't matter. As long as that block chooser contains a block and a format, that will produce, okay, a hide nav somewhere on the page. It doesn't matter where. It will end up here, okay, right under body.
So it'll end up there after the template format triggers?
Well, the template format doesn't show. So it will like occur right under the Google Tag Manager.
Okay.
Well, next to the logo and the request a demo, of course, but it's part of that header, okay. So I'm just saying, like, trying to tell you this, okay. On a page, it doesn't matter where you define a block chooser. That block chooser can be anywhere, okay, on the page. I just like, okay, choose to like group everything near the end, so that nobody will even notice their existence. Okay.
And so that's when the format runs, it then reshuffles everything to the correct location.
Exactly. You got it. So it doesn't matter where they appear. You can put them on the top. You can put them on near the bottom. And notice, okay, I also use restrict to groups, okay? So only the administrators can see this whole group, and no one else can. So it doesn't matter. You can move the whole thing to the top if you want to.
Right. Okay.
I just want to like tuck it at the end so that no one will even notice, okay, their existence, even if they can see it.
Gotcha.
Okay, page configuration.
I have one question, Wing, in regards to the site config.
Yep.
When I'm skipping obviously steps ahead, but when you're building the site out, for every page, do you have to add a block to all of these different fields, or is there a way you have it that you automate that part?
Good question.
Okay. You might get to that later, but it's just
well, let me answer the question
thinking
now.
of it already.
This is site configuration, right? So every page will have the same 6 blocks, okay, attached to like these 6 block choosers.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you don't want to do it like page by page. Remember, for non-administrators, they can't even see those choosers, right?
Yeah.
They can't see them. So the question becomes, okay, how do we deal with this? Well, the answer is very simple. Because I only have one definition, okay, one page definition, one content type, I attach, okay, those 6 blocks to a page, and I turn the page into a base asset. You know base asset, right?
Yeah, I haven't done anything with those
So
recently. But I
you're
understand
supposed
the
to
idea.
create a new page using an asset factory.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can copy, of course, okay, you can copy like existing pages. But no matter what you do, you can use the asset factory. You can use like an existing page and copy. All those 6 blocks are already attached to those like 6 block choosers. You don't need to deal with them at all.
So the base page that you're using already has the blocks.
Exactly.
Okay.
So once you like set it up, okay, for a new site, those blocks are already attached to the base page, okay, and you use the base page as the master copy, out of which you create other pages.
Yeah, so
Because you do that,
that's akin to having a template file and having your regions pre-populated at the template level.
no, because I only have one region.
No, but it's the same. It's a
Yeah,
similar.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's kind of like plugging in all the blocks, okay, into the template or at the the configuration level. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good analogy.
But there's something I also want to point out, okay. This also allows you to like customize individual pages if you want to. Well, you change something here on a page. That page will look different. Right?
Yeah, so if you want to have a custom footer for
Exactly. If you want to have a custom footer, okay, for a single page, change it here.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is for administrators, okay, so no one else can do that.
Gotcha.
Okay. So what we have seen, okay, is this. We use the high show mechanism, and then we define, okay, the target in a template, and then we define, okay, the source, okay, in a block, and we provide a block chooser somewhere on the page. It doesn't matter where, as long as you like attach the block to this chooser. The template format will move the content from one place to another place, wherever you want it to land to. Okay.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. The same mechanism works for page config group, okay, but this is for page configuration. So you can like put in like a slideshow or like a page level override, okay. The page level override is something I designed to like sneak in things, okay. This element is defined, okay, as the last element in head. So you can use page level override to insert, for example, style, link, script, PHP code, whatnot, into head. This is my backdoor. Okay. Actually, Hannon Hill uses like a lot of like page style elements in the body. I don't like that idea. Okay. They use like style elements, okay, in the body. I would rather like move them into the head. Okay, I can like put everything into this page level override, and it will be inserted as the last element in head.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Okay. In all the design I have, I always have this, okay, page level override. So I can, for example, like include a page level style sheet or whatever style rules I want to use to override the global ones, or I can insert PHP code or JavaScript code, whatever, for this page. Okay.
Yeah, I think we all have encountered cases where we need to do that.
And then the top slideshow, okay, this is the slideshow on this page, for example. Let me just show you the page. Top slideshow, I think it's this one, okay? So we can insert the slideshow there if we want to. But on the Hannon Hill site, they also have another slideshow here, okay? So this is not a slideshow; it's a static image, but they can insert something above the breadcrumb. Okay, so I can do something like this. Okay, if I need to, using the top slideshow. But actually, okay, in the implementation, I didn't really use this. Okay, but I defined it, so you can use it if you want to.
That's cool.
Okay, everything else, okay, belongs to the page. Now, I want to like show you another technique, okay, to deal with like page layouts. Let's say, okay, we have, well, we look at the Hannon Hill site and we notice, okay, sometimes there's a like a page containing one single column, okay, the center column, no left, no right. And sometimes they have like a left nav, but no right column. Or sometimes you have the right column, the narrower one. Sometimes you have like a right column, but a bit wider. Okay. So I use radial buttons to control, okay, what exactly, okay, should appear on a page. So here I have, let me just look at this part, okay. Two radial buttons, okay. One, well, yes and no, okay. One indicates, okay, when it's yes, okay, it's the home page, meaning there's only one column spanning the entire page. No meaning, okay, that could be a left column, that could be a right column. Okay. Now, these two radial buttons are associated with show fields, okay. These are called smart fields. So when you click yes, you see one interface. When you click no, you see another interface. So let me like edit the page and show you what I meant, okay? So Hannon Hill. So this is the index page. If I edit it, okay. Home page is clicked like with yes, okay. So you don't see like the WYSIWYG and so. Let me just click no, okay, to show you. No will be like this, okay. This is a normal page, okay. This is not a home page. So you will like see the H1, the WYSIWYG, and then you see like block choosers, okay. You can have like multiple block choosers, and you can also like select, okay, whether there's a left column, a right column, or a side, or just center.
Right.
Okay, so you use this mechanism, okay, to choose, okay, what kind of layout you want. So you can like you have to analyze your design, okay. So you start with like something like this, okay. No left, no right, okay, just the center column. Or okay, there could be like something like okay, do I still want like a center? Now, what's the difference between the home page, yes, and the center? What's the difference? Homepage, yes, okay, you only have one column, the center column.
Right.
But here I also have like no and then center. What's the difference?
Is it just different is it different code?
No, actually different width.
Okay.
Homepage, it spans the entire width of the displaying area.
Oh, whereas the other one has a centered column, basically.
Exactly. This is actually inside a container. So you have the left wide left margin, wide right margin.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. So this is actually for real home pages, okay? This is for something like a landing page, okay, like resources, okay? So you still have like this white margin on the left side and the right side. This is just the center. Okay, but the home page, okay, spans the entire thing, okay. So from the left to the right, okay, of the entire browser. That's the difference.
Gotcha.
So when it is a home page, okay, then it uses the entire displaying area. When you say no, then I would define a container inside, and then within the container, you like cut it up into left, right, a side, or a center.
Okay.
So this depends on your design, okay? Because I don't know your design, I can only like give you like guidelines, okay? You like okay, define how you want to use the entire width, okay? Actually, there's something strange about Upstate sites, okay? We don't use anything like spanning the full screen. We always like put everything into a container. So we only have this, okay? We never use the entire width. So we have like left, right, aside, center, blah, 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 okay, at upstate. But for Hannon Hill, okay, of course I need this, okay, so that I can span the whole thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Again, it depends on your design, and also depends on like how many different page types you have. I find this like the simplest way to deal with the Hannon Hill site. But for your case, you might want to like, well, I suggest, okay, actually you can alternate the two. I'm saying this, okay, you can have like one section for like everything to span across the entire width, another, okay, within a container, and then another spanning the entire width again, and then within a container. You might come up with a design like that, okay? I don't know, because it's your design.
In our case, we don't. Our designs are constantly changing, so.
That's why I said, okay, you have to be very flexible to allow all possible cases.
That's interesting.
Yep. So when you design your data definition, okay, you have to make it extremely flexible so that it can deal with any situation.
Wing, if we were to drill down one more level, so you have it set the home page now in the section group references Cascade Blocks Index. What does that block look like?
Which one?
For home page.
Home page.
Under section group.
Yeah. And then this is just the page content of the entire page. I'm lazy. I didn't really do anything other than just like put everything into one block.
Oh, so it's just one big piece of HTML code.
Yeah, just this. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I was just curious.
But of course, you can cut it up into like several blocks, and then like, well, you might have like feed block and so on and so forth. Then you use like multiple block choosers. Okay. So just like plug in as many as you want.
Gotcha.
Okay. But here, I want to like emphasize, okay, I don't deal with like blocks, especially not data definition blocks in this implementation, okay? I just assume, okay, you can take care of that. So I didn't really deal with that.
Okay.
Okay, so we have looked at these like 6 block choosers, okay, for like site config. Now, if we look at this, okay, this is like the index style, okay, for this page. That's what I meant, okay, when I use a page level override. So I inserted something into the head section, okay, some style rule for the index page. Okay. Everything else, I mean, nothing surprising, okay. So nothing really surprising. Now, let us look at these blocks, okay, just like go through them quickly, okay. So the link text, okay, is very simple. Just a text block, okay, containing all those like links elements, okay, used by the page. But the outmost element, okay, the root element is hide link, and we have a show link, okay, in the template. So this whole thing, except the root element, okay, will be moved to the show link area, okay. I call them areas instead of regions, okay. This is practically the same thing, okay, as like serialize in Velocity. So you serialize the whole thing and you put it there, and then we can plug in a true, okay, to get rid of the root element. So the hide link element won't show up there. It's just the content of this whole thing, okay, except the first line and the last line. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Okay. So these 5 are text blocks, okay? They are always the same, okay? So hide something, okay? For example, footer, okay? You see like hide footer. Contact, you see hide contact. This is actually the page, system page element, like this. It's very simple, okay? So this part will be replaced by the real title, okay? By Cascade. So notice, okay, when you like do things like this, you don't even need like a region for the title, okay? Or you don't have to define the system page title pseudo tag in the template. Now, of course, you can put this line, okay, in the template. You can actually put this line, okay, in the template. I think most likely you will be doing that. You just like put system page title in the template, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
The reason why I did this is this. At Upstate, we can actually change the title dynamically. That's why I need a mechanism, a block, to allow you to insert a title dynamically.
I see. I see.
Okay? But you don't have to do this. If you always use like the string in the title field, if you always do that, you can hard code this line in the template. You don't need to do anything like this. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, the interesting part is the navigation. Okay, navigation is actually an instruction block. Mike, you haven't seen this before, although I mentioned it like last time in the Hangout briefly. Okay, let me give you some overview first, okay, what this block does. An instruction block, okay, is actually a data definition block with the type information, okay, here in this field. But when you edit this block, okay, this string is not visible, so you cannot edit it. This type is hard-coded in the block. And this string will tell me, okay, well, tell the system how to process this block automatically without your interfering.
What version of Cascade are you running? I don't know if I have that.
I'm running 7.14.2. But this mechanism works for, well, probably all versions. So it doesn't depend on any version.
So,
Okay.
so this is a wing feature. This isn't a
My way of like doing data definition blocks. Okay, let me pull up a data definition first, okay, to show you this block definition, okay. Let me just show you data definition and instruction block. I'll show you the XML.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
For all the data definition for data definition blocks, I always include a field called block type. And then I also have a field, okay, yes, no display to kill the block without unattaching a block from a chooser, from a region, whatever. If it is no, then the block is basically ignored. It's like the master killer of a block.
So that's like if you're using a block in a template region, you could do that checkbox to turn it off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the same thing. Yep. But
Yep.
here you can do it like on the block level, so you can like turn off a block basically.
Okay.
And then the last part is whatever you need to define, okay, for the block. Now, there's some naming convention I stick with, okay. This is the block type, instruction block.
Okay.
And within the block, there must be at least, okay, one root group, and the ID of the group, okay, should be the same thing, and then followed by dash group. Okay, so instruction block group. So when I process a block with this information, I know what group to process.
right.
This is automatic. You don't need to tell me. So I am trying to tell you this, okay, Mike. When you plug a block, okay, of this type into a block chooser, the system will know I have to call a macro dealing with this group. I know it, okay, by computing everything automatically. So you don't need to tell me what to do with that block.
So that occurs in the format.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I always set up my data definition blocks like these, okay? Well, this is what I call the single functional data definition, okay? So in the entire block, okay, there's only one functionality, okay, like this, okay? But if you look at this mega block, okay, it's different. Again, I have the block type information here, okay, called mega block. But inside the mega block, I have a group of radio buttons determining what functionality you want to use. whether you want an accordion, whether you want to like display a contact, whether you want to display a quick link, or whether you want a WYSIWYG.
Wow.
So I'm combining 4 different functionality, okay, into one block. So using one block, I can do one of the 4 different things.
It's very efficient. I like it. I really
okay.
like it.
Look at the naming convention again, okay? Mega block is the type of this block. So when you plug a block of this type, okay, into a block chooser, I will call process mega block automatically. But of course, okay, I need to look at the radio button, okay, well, the one selected. For example, if you select, okay, accordion group, okay, well, accordion. This is the radio button ID, okay. So if you select accordion, I will know, okay, I need to call the macro accordion group to process this block. So everything is known in advance. Does it make sense?
It does, in principle, absolutely.
Okay, so basically, if you plug in a data definition block somewhere onto a page, okay, it doesn't matter what block chooser you're using, okay, any block chooser, as long as it is a data definition block, and if you set up the data definition block in this way, I will know what macro to invoke to process the block without your telling me. Everything is automatic.
Hey, Wing, I got a question.
Yep.
Let's say a year from now you decide to make a change to, let's say the upstate design changes and you need to delete all the pages that have an accordion, let's say,
okay,
or a contact. How would you go about searching the system for any pages that use the contact?
Well, I will use web services. I won't like. Remember, for Cascade, a block like this, well, unless you search the database, okay. If you use format, it's very clumsy because I mean you need to like do a lot of like queries. Well, the same thing for web services, okay. But I don't want to like use like queries, okay, to look at each block, look at each page, and then like do something. Instead, I will use web services. Well, the difference between the two is this. If you use like web services, you can examine things and you can also modify things. But if you use Velocity, you cannot modify anything.
So when you, I'm just curious, as far as your approach, when you set up this paradigm of structuring your website, do you almost have to create the sort of web service scripts that will sort of like test or scan your site to make sure that all of your pages are following the rules?
I haven't come to this point yet because remember the new design came into being just about like last May. Okay, I launched my first responsive site, my site. Okay, last May, 1 year ago. Because I monitor everything, and whenever I decide like to do something, I always like think in terms of the whole picture. Okay, velocity, web services, and so on and so forth. So far, I haven't come into any problem just yet that I haven't like foreseen. And we're talking about 1 year only. Okay, so I don't know, but I would say a few years from now, things might change. But still, because everything is so well thought of and like well planned, at least everything is like organized and systematic. If you want to like change something, you can almost always use a web service program to do that.
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking like a year from now, if you guys want to kill the contacts, let's say, feature, you would need a way to find out which pages are using it, so you don't.
Well, that's easy. Let me just like give you the answer now. Okay. let's say I can scan the entire Cascade instance, visit every site. Well, we talked about this last time when we talked about SH3 traversal. So I can like list all the sites, visit all the sites one by one, and then I can scan every individual site, looking for like data definitions. But honestly, because I only have one data definition, everything sitting in common assets. I don't need to do that. I don't even need to do that. But for you guys, if you like put your blocks, your data definitions everywhere, all over the places, then of course you need to scan every site. But for me, I don't have to do that. They must be in common assets.
Gotcha.
That's the first step.
Okay.
Second, you start with the data definition. You get the subscribers. That all the blocks, associated with this data definition will be given to you, the subscribers.
Right.
And then you go through the block, and then you grab all the subscribers, meaning all the pages, using the blocks.
Right.
And then you check the radio button, If you, let's say, you want to keep the block, but you want to remove the accordion group, let's say.
Okay.
So you scan through all the blocks to check, whether a block is like selected with this radio button. If it is, then it's an accordion block.
Okay.
You detach it from the page. You detach the block from the page, meaning using all the subscribers of the block. You detach the block. You republish all the pages. Meaning all those those pages will have no accordion in them. Once you're done, you delete all the blocks with this radio button selected.
Right.
And then you change the data definition. Remove this field.
It sounds easier said than done, but I guess that's
yeah.
how you do it.
But you know all the mechanism. I mean, you know everything now.
Right.
So it's not that hard. It's relatively easy.
Okay.
I'm curious, Wing, how long would that process take you for your 200 sites if you were doing it? If you had to do that, if someone said, hey, we need to get this done.
Well, converting a site is easy. By this, I mean this, Give me a non-responsive site, any site. I can convert the site into a responsive site in about like a day or half a day, depending on like the size of the site, But remember, this doesn't really do the job, because by converting it, I mean, just like switching the content type so that everything looks responsive, but you still need to visit every slideshow, every image. You need to fix every page. But the conversion part is easy. I can do it, I can do a few sites in a day. Using web services.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
Did I answer your question?
You did. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we have seen the template. We have seen the data definition associated with a page. Now we will need to look at the last piece. The format. No, not this site. It's in Hannon Hill. Format. This one is used to produce the navigation. So it starts with high nav. So within the high nav is just normal code, to produce the navigational bar. Any questions about this format?
Sorry, I was muted. Looks good.
So I use this format to produce the menu bar on the top, meaning this menu bar. Producing this using this format. Of course, it must be attached. Well, this format must go with an index block, indexing the whole site to produce the navigational bar. Of course, that's given.
Okay.
Now I need to tie the two together, a block and a format. Right.
Right, like a region.
Index block. Yep, we need a region, okay? But let me just like show you the index block, okay? This is the index block, okay? Indexing the whole site. And then we saw the format, okay?
Yeah.
So I have a format, I have a block, but we don't have a region, right?
Right.
So back to the page, okay? Remember, okay, the name of the format is called process nav index, and the block is called process. Oh no, sorry, nav index. Okay. Now let us go back to this instruction block. Well, you see both here. Okay. So nav index is the index block. This is actually an XML block. Okay, let me show you the XML block. This is just an XML block containing some XML markup, but it points to the format.
Right.
Hey, Mike, for your information, okay, this is what I call a script block, and I use this mechanism to tie a format with a block.
So
why is it scripts within script?
Well, in a script block, you can have multiple scripts. You can repeat this several times.
Okay.
So
wait,
one single, yep.
So just to clarify,
Yep.
so this is kind of analogous to the format, field in a region.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is a format.
Right. Okay.
So, Mike, for your information, you can, using this mechanism, you can process a single block multiple times using different formats. I'm saying you can attach, okay, a block to many, many different formats, okay? And then actually, I talked about why, okay, in one of my recordings, but that's the flexibility of using this. Also, I want to like point out one thing, though I didn't use it here. Right under path, you can also prescribe, okay, within this format, what macro to call. You can specify the macro name.
Oh, that's cool.
You can also specify when you call the macro, what variable to use or what parameters to use. You can plug in anything you want, basically. I built a whole system, okay, like processing a script block like this, okay, in my Velocity library. But it's already built. But you need to understand like how, why, before we like can talk about the details. So basically, okay, I'm saying this. When you put this block into a page, into a block chooser, the Velocity code will know, okay, by looking at this block type, what to do with this block. It will expect, okay, two blocks. First, the block to be processed. The second, some format information. There could be one format, there can be multiple formats to process the block. It will loop through every format, and then if there's like a macro name, I'll call the macro to process the block. If not, I'll just like tie the format with the block. That's how it works to replace a region. So I tie a block and a format together and put it into a block chooser.
I wish Google Hangouts had like a mind exploding sound right now. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, one of the parts I just find confusing, but it's just because of my lack of experience, was the process nav index. I guess it's written in Velocity, and I have never written anything in Velocity.
Oh, this part is hard. This part is actually very hard. Yeah.
So that's just something I would have to get more up to speed on.
Yeah. Actually, I sent a proposal. I mean, for this year's conference, I want to talk about like how to like do evaluate and how to like use script blocks if I have time. But this part is actually very technical and very hard. But just take it for granted for the moment, okay? My code can deal with this. And it will actually look at well, let me come back to this block again, okay? It will look at the content of this block and invoke whatever format, okay, prescribed by the second block and apply the velocity code to the first block.
Oh, Wing, just to clarify, that instruction block has to point to a velocity script, right? It doesn't support XSLT.
No.
Right. Okay.
It won't make sense because XSLT doesn't know how to generate code, how to evaluate code. No.
Yeah, sure. That's just. I just wanted to clarify. Okay.
Yeah. This must be velocity.
Okay.
So I built the entire system, okay, to do this. Well, the entire system in Common SS. Okay. Mike, any questions up to this point?
No, not yet.
Okay, then the last thing I want to show you is the page format. So the page format is here. I just process the entire page, okay, group by group, okay, field by field. Whenever I see a block chooser, I call process block chooser. That's all. Process block chooser will know what to do with the block. That's already built in the system.
So right now we're looking at a part of your velocity library
no, this is actually the format attached to default. This is written for individual design.
This is attached to one of your data definition regions?
To the default region.
Oh, okay.
That's only one.
Okay. Okay, right. Okay.
Yep, so this is the default format.
That's attached in the template file, though, correct?
You can attach it to the format, to the template, or you can attach it to the configuration set. Doesn't matter.
So how are you doing it?
I normally do configuration set.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter because you only have one template, one configuration set containing that template.
Sure.
It doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Okay, I want to just highlight this again, okay? You process the entire page, okay, field by field, but whenever you see a block chooser, you just call process block chooser. This macro is defined in the library. You don't need to do anything. Okay?
Right.
Of course, okay, I left out a huge part of the entire picture.
Wing, I think you're breaking up.
Because remember, like a block except WYSIWYG, okay? So you have to, for example, if you create a new data definition for a new data definition block, to process the data definition block, of course you need to do that. I cannot do it for you, okay? But because of the WYSIWYG block is already defined in the system, I can use it, and I don't need to write any code. It's already in the library. So this is all the code you need, okay, for the Hannon Hill site. Besides the navigation, okay, to create a navigation bar, this is all the velocity code I need, okay, to produce the Hannon Hill site. Everything else, everything else comes from the library.
Oh, okay. So this is customized for their design.
For Hannon Hill, yes.
I see.
Because they have a specific data definition I defined. This format must go with that data definition.
Mike, you had a question?
Yeah, how many velocity files do you have in your library folder?
Okay, let's look at them. They're all here.
Okay.
And whenever you whenever you download a common asset, whatever file from GitHub, there are 3 right now, you will see all these files in every CSSE file. They are all there.
So those files don't change?
These 2 can change. Remember, okay, if you look at the prefixes, okay, of these files, okay, for ChanW, any file, okay, starting with ChanW, they are library files. You're not supposed to change them. They are reusable for anyone. When you look at something like this, okay, upstate process something or upstate whatever, okay, this is like for us, for upstate. But if you want to like reuse the code, you can like modify the code any way you want, because this is our business logic. So you need to like incorporate your business logic into these files. Okay. And for example, these four, they also like include business logic in the sense that if you like have your own block types. For example, okay, instruction block, okay, you saw that block type here.
Mm-hmm.
You just put the type here and everything is automatic. You put WYSIWYG here, the WYSIWYG block will be processed automatically. We saw mega block a moment ago. Well, you put a process mega block here, you put the name into this list, and everything will be processed automatically. Mike, I have been like mentioning automatic invocation a lot, okay, but this like assumes, okay, you understand what I have already done, okay, with this like common SSI with respect to velocity, okay. I built in a lot of like naming conventions, a lot of like automatic invocation, a lot of things, okay, already like assumed in the system.
And it's all based on velocity.
Yeah, all based on velocity. So that's all the code I need, okay, to build the Hannon Hill site. Of course, I still need to deal with like each individual page, okay, the page content. But that's page content, okay. I can put all the page content into a block and plug the block into a block chooser, or I can put the page content into the WYSIWYG. It will show the page content. I'm just showing you, okay, the surrounding area, the left column, the right column, the navigation, logo, things like that, okay, the general setup.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I built the Hannon Hill site. Now, let me recap, okay? Let's say if you want to use this approach to build a site of yours, what do you do? Okay, let me just, yep. You have a question?
No, I said the answer is call you.
yeah.
That is the answer.
Send me the design, and I'll build it in 3 days. Okay. Okay. Let me just like give you the steps. Okay. First, you need to well, I provide you a bare bone file. Okay. Yesterday. Okay. Let me just go to GitHub and show you. GitHub. Okay. In GitHub, in RWD2. In the README part, okay, I specify, okay, what are provided to you. There are, well, 2.5 pairs, okay. First, common asset and RWD seed are the 2 files I use, okay, in production for Upstate. That's how I deal with the real world situation, okay, at Upstate. These are the 2 files, okay. I just like downloaded from our production server. Okay, these 2. And then these 2, okay, common SS wing and then Hannon Hill wing are the 2 files I've been showing you, okay, to implement the Hannon Hill site. You can use these, okay, as an example, like how to deal with like the navigational bar, how to deal with the left menu, the right column, and so on, with respect to the Hannon Hill site. There's a third part, okay, this is called common SS bare bone. I strip away almost all the upstate logic, and what's remaining is the core, the reusable part. Okay, so you can start with this file. Okay, common SS bare bone. Of course, you need to like, okay, install it into Cascade, and then create a copy of that, and then rename it any way you want. Okay, don't call it bare bone. Okay. So you can have a copy of this site on your Cascade. It will contain all the library code and the core, okay, of everything. Any questions about this variable? Any questions?
So this has to be uploaded to a separate site.
Actually, this is the master site to drive all other sites.
Right.
Okay, so whatever you see, okay, on this page, starting with common assets, okay, these are what I call master sites. So you install the master site, and then you can use the master site to drive other sites of the same design. You can use it to drive one single site, like the Hannon Hill example, or you can use the master site to drive multiple sites, like what I did with the Upstate implementation.
So
you decide.
If we go back
Yep.
to Cascade.
Yep.
And under your sites.
Okay.
Your sites
you mean
list.
here?
So the common assets that you have, what does common assets bare bones look like?
Exactly. I want to show it to you.
Okay.
If you look at this part, okay, the library part, if you look at, for example, Upstate Process DD, okay, I basically strip away almost like everything except the WYSIWYG, okay? The WYSIWYG is easy, and normally you want something like this as a start. So I just keep it. Otherwise, I remove everything. Okay? Process site map, I just like keep all the code so you can like take a look. If you don't want it, replace it with your own code. But everything else is the same.
Okay.
I removed like all the blocks. For example, I mean, well, just comments, okay, without real code. So
Sure.
you put in whatever you need to.
So it sounds like to me, as you're describing it, I'm just absorbing. It sounds like I would have the common assets bare bone installed. I'd have it copied to something else.
Yep, and name it something of your own way, okay? So first step, you install this file.
Sure.
Second step, you create a copy out of it and rename it. So that will be your master site.
And I kind of feel like a third step would be I'd create a third empty site to then experiment.
And not yet.
No?
The third step would be analyze your design and then create a static site. And then based on the static site or whatever, you build your template.
Yeah, I just like I have one site inside of Cascade right now, and the university mobile folder for the rest of the sites basically. So it sounds like I would need 3 sites.
Which to the old. Yeah, the old. You want to move away from the old practice, meaning using global, to the new practice, to like individual sites.
Sure. Yeah. No. I'm not using global right now myself.
Oh, okay. I misheard it probably.
I would need. I'm just thinking out loud, basically. But that's
okay. So I would say the next step would be to deal with the template, to define whatever region you want to define.
Hmm?
Well, region, okay, in the sense of like high show, not real regions, okay, except default. And beyond this, you need to work with the template, with the data definition, and the format, the 3 things, okay, at the same time. Because, okay, we talked about this right at the beginning. Every time when you have some information you want to produce, okay, on a page, let's say it's something global, okay, it could be the logo, it could be like script, it could be link, it could be the footer, whatever. You need to decide, okay, whether you want to put the information in the template, in the format, or in a blog. Okay, you have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I always opt for blocks. And actually, I always opt for text blocks. Because my system can deal with text blocks without writing a single line of code. So you basically like put inside the text block. Okay, let me show you a text block again. You need to like start with like hi something. Okay, hi contact, hi footer, hi whatever. And then you put the show counterpart in the template. And then you put the whatever, okay, for example, this part, okay, the contact, into the template level format. So you have a contact here. Then the text block's content will be displayed in that target automatically.
Now, Wing, in this file, once you get down to line 21, can you kind of walk us
One.
through what it's doing in kind of a broad overview sense?
Well, I have written some comments here.
Sure.
Okay, line 22. Well, line 21. Okay, we are processing everything. Well, all the attributes, all the child nodes. Okay, so basically, it will look at the render page. Okay, this is the last step. Okay, you look at the entire page, starting from HTML. You process every element and every attribute. Okay, that's line 21.
Okay.
But the priority is -1, meaning if you have anything applicable first, apply those first. But because there's only one template in this format, okay? So the priority is not necessary, but you might have other templates, okay, in this format. So -1 meaning, okay, apply this last. Okay?
Okay.
Now this part is the moving part. The whole thing is the moving part, okay, here. This is the moving part. So look at the variables up here, okay, defined up here, okay, and then grab the ID, for example, breadcrumb, contact, footer, whatever, and then hide whatever you're supposed to hide and show whatever you're supposed to show. That's all. That's all it does.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, I can send you the links to the conference presentations that Wing was talking about that explain in more detail how this works.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I look forward to actually going back and watching the other YouTube videos you guys have done. This is pretty unique.
And ask questions, okay? We can actually have more hangouts if you want to, because those like 3 presentations are extremely technical. Well, ask Eric, okay? So if you have further questions, you want me to clarify something, let me know anytime, okay?
Sure.
So let me just trace back, okay, what you need to do to build a new site, okay, with a new design. So you install the barebone, you create a copy, and then you create your own master site. And then you start with the master site, you work with the template, you work with the data definition, you work with the format, the 3 things together at the same time. You deal with one component at a time. For example, you deal with, well, I normally start with the footer because it's simpler, okay? I start with the footer, I start with the contact. Next, I will deal with the header. And then when everything, okay, surrounding the page is dealt with, then I deal with the page.
So if we take a step back, so install bare bones, make a copy of it, okay, install create a master site. That master site just has a base folder in it when you start, correct?
Well, the master site will look exactly like barebone. The master site is not a site you are supposed to publish. You never publish this site. It's a site that drives all publishable sites.
No, I guess I'm not using the right word then. So
okay.
I install Common Assets bare bones. I make a copy of it, Common Assets Law School, let's say, on my end.
Yep.
And then I want to do another site to try this out on.
Sure.
So maybe it'll be like
you build
Law
a
School
new site,
test.
but before you can build a new site, you have to like at least have some minimal amount of code in the template so that you can create a configuration set and you can create a content type, right? When you have the content type, then you can build your site.
Sure.
Then you can build your first page.
Okay.
And actually, you should use your first page to test everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's interesting to try to get that, just to get to that.
Yes. The master site and then an empty site.
Yeah.
In that order. And then you deal with the template, the format, the data definition, and then you create the configuration set, and you create the content type, and you create your first page in your new site.
So that's essentially
with the new content type.
A base folder and like an index page.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have to like deal with the global information. You need to decide, okay, when you like put information into blocks, okay, should they go to the master site or should they go to that site? I would say anything global should go to the master site. So, for example, in the master site, I have like the footer, the contact, the header, blah, 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 okay? Only like information, okay, specific to a single site or to a single page should go to the site.
So
That's what I meant, okay?
each individual site on your site.
Let's say if you
server
have like an
folder.
individual logo for different sites, okay? Every site will have a different logo, let's say. Then the logo block should go to the site.
So if you were to go into any of the other sites on your Cascade server instance, you would have a blocks folder and a code folder. Like you're following
Yep.
that same menu.
Then you have like logo, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then you have an empty page, and then you have a template with minimal code in it, and then you have a data definition and then a format, okay, attached to default. Then you deal with one component at a time. For example, I started with the footer. So I want to generate the footer on the new page.
Mm-hmm.
Once you see the footer, then you move to the next component. You do it bit by bit like this.
Yeah.
You deal with the page content later, okay? That's the last part you need to worry about. The page will always be empty. You just need to deal with like the surrounding area, okay? The footer, the header, the left column, right column, and so on, ignoring everything in the center.
Mm-hmm.
The center, you can always plug something into the WYSIWYG, for example.
Okay.
That's the entire process, okay?
Yeah.
And I would say, if you like design your template, your data definition wisely, this approach will work with any design, any site.
I agree. I think it could. It has the right it has a lot of flexibility built into it.
Yep, yep. And there's one more thing, okay? Because that's what we did at Upstate. We use a single master site to drive multiple sites. You have to be very careful about, okay, what is really global, what is really like site specific. Well, you need to deal with like site configuration. I didn't talk about that part today, okay? But you need to deal with like site configuration. If you use one single master site to drive multiple sites.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of advantages to having all of your common assets in a separate site.
Eric, how many Cascade sites are you running?
Only two.
Only two. Okay.
Really one big one with a lot of subfolders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the reason we did that is there was a feeling that we didn't want to discourage content contributors from having being able to link to other offices' websites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
Oh, sorry, I was like away for a few minutes.
No problem.
Okay. Oh, okay. Did I like explain everything? At least what I supposed to?
Oh, sorry about that, Wing. Could you say that again?
I think, Wing, you're on mute. I see the mute icon on his.
Oh, yeah. I think that was my fault. Hold on. I think I can fix that. Whoa. Okay, Wing, you're unmuted. Oh, no.
Now he is.
Yeah.
No, now he's muted.
Okay. I keep clicking it. Okay. My question is, I mean, did I at least cover everything I'm supposed to? Well, the big picture.
Well, I could speaking for myself, since this is my first opportunity to listen to one of the demos firsthand. I think it was a really excellent overview. Obviously, as I mentioned before, the velocity part is a little bit of an unknown quantity for me.
Right.
But it's intriguing enough that it sounds like it'd be worthwhile on my end to get an install set up and at least
Okay.
experiment with it because
Well,
I really
actually,
like
I've been like
I like the
using Eric
simplicity
as
of it.
sorry, I've been using Eric as a guinea pig. Actually, Mike, if you want to, you can be my second guinea pig. I mean, try it and let me know what is missing from my documentation, from my presentation. I'm more than ready, like, to help along, okay, the way to make sure you get there.
I'm curious then, so Wing, so Eric is your first guinea pig. Eric, how are you doing with utilizing the code? Or like,
Yeah.
what step are you in the process?
Well, sorry, I'm seeing some weird stuff here from Google. I've installed the common, the sort of the common site, and Wing's one of Wing's upstate prototypes that uses this model. However, I don't fully understand. There are a lot of layers to this paradigm, and I haven't connected all the dots yet. I think what would be helpful for me, and it's something that Mike, you kind of mentioned, is having like almost like a chart where you can see what the sort of analog is to each of, when you have a lot of terminology, just like Cascade did when I first started. It was new to me, instruction blocks and stuff. I think it would be helpful to see sort of almost like a chart, what the Cascade analog is to some of your new constructs. So like, for example, Cascade uses regions. What is your sort of construct
instruction blocks
format? That I think that would help to get at least my mind around the terminology, especially since I don't frequently use it.
Okay. Okay, before I forget, I want to point you guys to 2 pages, okay, on my site. If you go to like Cascade admin, I want to like point to 2 pages that can be useful. Do I need to share my screen, or you can find what you're supposed to find?
Actually, if you share it, that'd be great. Then maybe if
okay,
you
let me share the screen again. Yeah, I'll share the screen again, okay? So I'm looking at my site right now, and on the right-hand side, there's an item called the Upstate Implementation, the standard model, and you can go there. I talk about almost everything here, okay? Well, there's another part, okay, I need to like bring up in a second, but I talk about like the big picture here, and I added one section, okay? Okay, you first go to the standard model, and then on the left-hand side, you can see blocks and formats, and there's a page, okay, talking about the default format for the default region. And Eric, this can be useful for you. I'm tracing the execution of the block choosers, okay, how it works here. Basically, like starting from a block, what is invoked, what is generated, all the way to like whatever block, okay, I'm processing. So this is like a description of behind the scene magic, how it works. Okay, this section is new, so you might want to like take a quick look at this section.
Yeah, I didn't realize
on the page.
This is great.
Okay, second thing I want to, well, this whole section is about like the standard model, okay? I basically like talk about each part. For example, I talk about like the template format, well, briefly, okay, what it does, what the template does, and so on. And I also like talk about like how to set up those index blocks. There's a second part to this, okay? If you go to formats and then velocity, I have a velocity tutorial. Okay, or you can get to the tutorial right from here. Okay, if you go home, okay, the home page of like Cascade Admin, there's a velocity tutorial on the right side.
Okay.
And this tutorial is very thorough, and it covers basically almost everything you need to know. Toward the end of those lessons, I talked about, for example, how to process block choosers, how to deal with like instruction blocks, how to deal with like script blocks, and so on. So I talked about these things in the last few lessons.
Hey, Wayne, can you restart your mic? It's echoing again.
Okay, okay. I need to get out and then get back in.
Okay. Mike, what do you think?
I think the idea has a lot of merit. I mean, you know, it's one thing that we haven't, like, I'll admit the university here, we've used the global model for the same reason. We want people to be able to link in between sites more easily. But at the law school, since that's where I'm focused, that this model, I just think it's interesting. I'm curious to install it mainly to see like how much can be done without having to do any heavy duty velocity work. Like if the velocity libraries can do a lot, that'd be great, because a lot of what we're using is what is XSLT, but it's XSLT that you know, a consultant wrote, so or a consulting company wrote. So we're, you know, I've modified some of it, but it's not very it wasn't built to be very flexible in my view. Whereas like Wing's model is built to be highly flexible and to, you know, be able to share across multiple sites. I think it's great. You know, I think it's you know, a little confusing in spots, but you know, I think it's worth giving it a shot and actually trying it. But I'd be curious, like if I have, you know, I obviously have a large site built in a very specific way. If I wanted to roll out using this, let's call it a framework. If I wanted to use this framework for just the home page, kind of what would the implications be of doing that? I don't think it'd be that significant. It'd be, you know, a template file, you know, a configuration file, and so on.
Okay.
Referencing a common site.
To get back in.
Oh, you sound good. We're just talking about, you know, your framework. Let's, you know, if I kind of refer to like everything you've built out as a framework, it's a framework, you know, specific to Cascade. It's kind of like so, you know, obviously one approach which we were discussing was, you know, installing the common assets, making a copy, making a new empty site, and then experimenting with it. But let's say, you know, in broad steps, and say, oh, I got to that point, I like it, it's working great. Now I want to take this framework and apply it to, let's just say, the home page of the school site that I'm maintaining, law.hofstra.edu. You know, in theory, I do need to create a new template file, a new config set in that site, reference the common assets, and be able to roll it out to just one page, which would be interesting. And then, you know, what we've done in the past when we kind of roll out changes is we do it section by section, just because shutting off the entire site and doing a full changeover is a little, you know, can be a little bit challenging for a large scale site. But you know, a lot of our underpinnings we're all built out by a consulting company. So you know, having a framework where it's actually documented and explained in detail is pretty attractive. So just be interesting to experiment with it to see, how easy it is to use, and like you were saying before, what kind of questions come up.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's really, to be honest, it's very, very impressive. So thank you for taking the time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, since the last hangout, I mean, a few days ago, you got me thinking about like what you brought up. Well, the difference between like Cascade and WordPress. I'm like obsessed with the question of like whether I can like turn Cascade into something like WordPress. I think it's possible, but then we have to do away with a lot of flexibility offered by Cascade. For example, you can basically, okay, say, I can build you a template, okay, with like 3 columns or 2 columns, or a choice of either 1 or 2 columns, okay. If you like allow me to do that, okay, imposing a lot of restrictions on you, actually I can build a site with like placeholders, okay. Well, you plug in the logo here, you plug in the navigational here, you plug in a footer here, but everything is built out. I can do something like that. Of course, you need to give me some minimal style, okay, like how wide the column should be, how things like that, okay. But if you are satisfied with like a canned solution, I can build something like that within Cascade for you to use. You just like plug in missing pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's doable.
Mm-hmm.
But then you don't have the flexibility of like creating your own template, defining your own regions and things like that. You can't do that because I built everything for you.
Yeah, that's something I'll be curious to see as I build it out, kind of comparing the two.
Yep.
Because obviously, like the Hannon Hill site, I think was using Bootstrap. I use Foundation. I mean, they're basically the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's a framework underneath, but like the style beyond that, that's all custom. Like you were mentioning, like you were referencing out, the CSS files on Hannon Hill site, and so kind of the cool part about WordPress is someone's developed, or in reality a team has developed a theme, and the theme is highly customizable, and it offers a lot of flexibility. So you can install that theme into the CMS, and you have all of these basically pre-built styles. Like you don't have to write your styles from scratch.
Oh, sure.
And that part, like again, I just don't think there's a wide enough user base for Cascade to really justify, developing something that custom. But it's like adding a layer of style built into the framework that's a highly flexible style in and of itself. And it probably just wouldn't be a good investment to develop, but it'd be interesting to see.
I would say within an organization, you can still do something like that for your own use. For example, you can
for like a university.
You can like define like a custom like header. You allow people to change the background. You allow people to change the logo. But basically, you define like the width, the height, and so on. The color theme.
Mm-hmm.
Then you allow people to like replace small pieces of it. You can do something like that in your system.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah, for folks that are implementing site-wide, university site-wide design, basically you need someone, you need to either hire a company or a consultant to really develop your CSS, or you need to really step up and know it. There's no, other than the style sheets that come with Foundation, everything else on top that's on the law site is all custom. Everything else that's on top on the university site on my end, they've developed, it's all custom, and so I don't really know, if that's really. It'd just be interesting to figure out like some way of standardizing that to make it a little bit easier, like all of your velocity scripts. The fact that they're largely structured in a way that they're reusable and standardized, and you can still customize it at some level, but you don't have to worry about all the inner workings. That's what's great about using a framework like Foundation. I don't have to deal with all the responsive code. I could just use their code. But the one piece we don't have is we don't have any standard style library where I could pick base colors, and that's all still fully customizable, fully custom written, and I enjoy writing it. Like I don't mind it, but I just keep thinking that'd be neat to even just provide like some base style that one could start with, and whether it references the styles that are used in Bootstrap or a custom style set. It'd just be interesting, whether it's written in Less or Sass or just straight out CSS files. It would be, I don't know, it'd just be neat, because part of it, like I have a massive CSS file, so I actually have begun experimenting, rewriting it in Sass, just to begin dividing it up and making it a little bit more easy to manage. But I guess I don't know, just thinking.
Yeah, we have the same sort of issue here with our CSS, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this is a good time to bring in a completely new topic, but just want to put it on the floor so that we can pick it up later. I deal with the CSS using PHP. I don't create the CSS file. It's created by a PHP program.
So you use a more automated system?
Not exactly, but I put all the code, I use PHP code to generate CSS code to guarantee, there's no typo, everything's well defined, and I also use the same approach. I define a constant file, so all the color values, all the widths, and so on and so forth are defined in the constant file. So if I need to change it for a new design, of course, I need to make a copy of it, and then redefine all those constants. And then I basically use PHP code to generate everything, allowing me, for example, to print out comments, to hide comments, to minimize everything, to expand everything, format everything. I have all the options built into the system.
I think that would be a great topic to discuss. I think we could talk for a whole hour on really how you manage your CSS. Personally, I would find that really interesting.
And it's tied with web services as well. Well, the last part is this. I create the entire CSS outside Cascade, but then I push it into Cascade so to make the entire style sheet available to Cascade, and then publish the pushed-in content to the server.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So both have the same content, of course, but actually the content comes from outside of Cascade.
So I don't necessarily have any idea of how to do it, but taking the WordPress concepts and trying to apply it to the Cascade environment, it would be fascinating to have some type of a data definition inside of Cascade that would allow you to change some master settings for your CSS. And by changing those, that would then output some level of a CSS file that can get imported into a more customized file.
Oh, sure. That's another
in terms of making it a little bit more user friendly. In fact, you custom wrote all this PHP and have a methodology. So instead of using Less or Sass, you've written something even more custom, and then a web service to push it into Cascade. That would be fascinating to see a demo on. But it'd be cool to be able to kind of use the technology that this highly flexible empty box that Cascade starts as, and be able to customize a way to
I agree. Yeah.
Modify.
I believe some people are actually are doing that. They use like blocks and formats together to produce CSS files.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know some people do that. They just like publish some CSS files, which are practically pages. Okay, you hook up a page, okay, with a block and data definition block and a format. And when you publish the page, the extension is CSS.
Sure.
You're publishing CSS files, basically.
Yeah.
It's doable.
Yeah, that would be, Mike. I think that would be an interesting topic. I'd be interested in hearing some of these ideas.
Yeah. Well, I think I know what my next step is. I'm going to try to get the go-ahead to start installing these sites, and at least delve into it and see what that leads to.
Well, if you really want to go through this, keep me informed, okay, in every step, so that I can answer questions, I can help, or at least I can give you pointers.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that, and absolutely I will.
Well, you are a serious guinea pig.
I just want to admit, though, on my end, I have like 2 areas that I'm one step removed on in terms of ability or access. If it's creating a site or installing a CSSE file, I have to submit a request, and that's fine. And then configuration sets, if I need any configuration set set up, I have to submit a request, and it's just a university policy. And it's the team that I submit the request to, though, they're incredibly helpful, so that's not a concern. But after that, it's and then I can do the rest of it from there forward. So
yeah, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add the CSS to the agenda for the next Hangout, and maybe like in a month or so. And we can try and pick it up from there. But it seems like Friday is a good day to just have these sort of open-ended, blue sky conversations.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Though we are excluding anyone from California.
Well, it could be a Friday afternoon then.
Well, then it depends on how long it lasts.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, we can tweak the times. So okay, I know you have to. You probably have to run, right?
No, they have already gone.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry. But okay. Well, this has been really, really interesting and eye-opening. I hope we can do this soon.
Okay. Well, Mike, again, there's one favor I want to ask. Okay, any feedback, any suggestion, anything you run into, let me know. Okay. Always keep me informed and post it so I can improve my system.
It'll be my pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great.
Wing, thanks again for explaining just in so much detail your ideas, and yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
And Mike, thank you for joining this. It's really great to have somebody else with other ideas. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited to try something new, and this is a good time of year to try it. By the way, going into summer.
Okay. Relatively quiet, right?
Well, it's the time we do big projects, so kind of.
Oh, okay.
Experimenting with something now is a good time of year to try it. Whereas late July, it gets pretty hectic already.
Sure.
I have this little window, and this kind of relates to one of the goals I have already for the summer, with overhauling our homepage. So it'd be nice to experiment with it for sure.
Cool. Sounds good. So all right, guys. I'll I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. I'll send around another invitation.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, thanks for organizing, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
My pleasure, guys.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
All right. You
Okay.
too. Okay. Signing off.
Bye.
See you.